All right, SHW Off-Road Daily Drop. Today we're talking about crossovers. We're talking all about crossover drawer systems and really crossover builds in general. I think this applies to. I see a huge uptick. We see a huge uptick. Again, Jake with SHW Off-Road. SHW Off-Road manufactures drawer systems for vehicles for adventure travel and stuff like that. But we've seen a huge uptick in people outfitting crossovers for adventure travel, which is why we were one of the first to support some of these crossovers with, custom drawer systems that, fit these vehicles and optimize every square inch in them. But what I see a lot of people doing is looking at some of these builds, on these Land Cruisers and or just 4Runners or these bigger SUVs and copying and pasting that to these smaller SUVs. And really that doesn't work for a few different reasons, but most importantly, your vehicle just wasn't designed for some of the build outs that people are doing in these larger SUVs. So you have to be super mindful about weight, about payload, about braking distance, and about reliability in your vehicle due to all those things. But you also have to be really diligent in your storage system because it plays a role in a lot of that, right? So today we're going to talk about drawer systems in crossovers. It's going to be very, very quick, very simple, but you need to consider it and perhaps copy and paste some of these principles to some of the other things you're putting on your vehicle, right? So be mindful about that 200-pound steel bull bar on the front of your RAV4 or your Grand Cherokee, right? So we're going to talk about drawers. We're going to try to stay in that lens today, and I'm going to talk about two things: space efficiency and weight. Two things you cannot waste in a crossover in general, but definitely in your storage system. So efficiency, whatever drawer system you put in your truck, in your crossover rather, you need to be super cognizant about your space efficiency. You cannot let the drawer system itself waste up tons of space in the vehicle, right? So you need to build it to the contours. You need to build it all the way out to the trim panels as far as you can. You need to build it to your workflow. Usually modules in a crossover SUV aren't a great idea, right? So if you think about it, when you're building modules, each module has a self-contained framing system. Whereas if you build a system all-encompassing, it shares a framing system. So you can be more efficient in the space you take up, as well as the weight too, which we'll talk about in a second. So space is huge. You need to watch your height restrictions. Most of these crossovers, you cannot run a fridge on top of a drawer system. Most of these crossovers have an angled back glass, on the hatch, right? So even though the hatch technically goes out to here, let's say your drawer system is up to here, you can't put anything on top of that drawer system without hitting the glass. So you need to be super aware of running fridges on top of drawers or just other equipment on top of drawers, because that back glass is usually so slanted, it takes out a ton of storage space. So space is huge. Space is absolutely huge in crossovers. You need to take advantage of every inch that you can. Honestly, avoid anything. This is just my opinion. Obviously, some people might disagree with me, but I would avoid anything that's just copy and paste as far as drawer systems. I would try to avoid modules. Honestly, obviously, that's not as hard as a rule for me because modules do have their place and they're going to serve certain workflows. But in my opinion, the best way to efficiently use space is to have a whole system, right? Have a system that works and is designed for your vehicle. Call us. We can do that. But I think there are other people too. You can do that yourself. I've done videos on DIY drawer systems before. There are a million of other videos out there on them. So take your time, make something for your truck. I would be wary of anything that's just a universal design that fits multiple crossovers. It's going to waste space, and I would be wary of design based completely off of modules. So there you go, space efficiency. All that also is loosely tied into weight. Payload on a lot of these crossovers is ridiculously low. You have to be really, really careful. Why do you care about payload? I'm going to have a whole video dedicated to it. I have plugged that video since week 1 of Daily Drops and haven't done it yet because it's going to take a ton of research and probably some outside help. But there are a ton of reasons why you need to watch payload on your vehicle, and crossovers especially, because they're so restricted by it. So you need to build a system that is super lightweight, or buy one that is super lightweight. We have the ultralight line, which obviously is some of the lightest drawers in the world, right? Goose Gear has recently put out what they call the Park Series. I don't know weight specs yet. I doubt they'll beat us, but maybe so. But regardless, make sure you watch the weight in your drawer system in your crossover. Okay, your vehicle wasn't built to handle it. Your brakes weren't built to handle it. Your suspension isn't built to handle it. Your differentials aren't built to handle it. So you have to be super careful about how much weight you're putting on the vehicle in general, and you need to save space when it comes to your save weight when it comes to your storage system as well. Also consider whether you're sleeping in the vehicle or not, right? So your drawer system is just one piece of the puzzle. If you're talking about seat deletes or sleeping platforms, all of that stuff adds weight. So be cognizant, be aware, crunch numbers, be worried about every single pound because it all adds up really quick. Okay, so those are some of my tips when it comes to drawer systems or crossover adventure travel in general. If you have something to add, let us know. If you're a crossover owner and you've got questions, just call us or reach out, drop a comment, whatever you need to do to get a hold of us. Let us know. We'll help you. We'll guide you through it. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about seat deletes versus sleeping platforms. We have a unique approach to sleeping platforms. Not a lot of people do this. Not a lot of manufacturers do it. But we're also kind of creeping into the seat delete world too. So join me tomorrow. I have some really great thoughts to share with you. And it's one of the most common questions I get about our sleeping platforms, how they work. Do the seats stay in? Do the seats come out? How much weight can they carry? That kind of stuff. So talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for joining today. See you next time.